Hello everybody, lovely to see you. I thought I'd hop on and chat to you today. Gloriously Ordinary Lives has always been about the 5 tests and the mundane and heart sing, as you all know, and it's really interesting because over the last few years, I've always at regular but not that frequent intervals had someone say to me, "Love the 5 tests." And what else? You know, is there like a checklist behind them? And I've always really resisted because no, there isn't a checklist behind them. That's kind of the point. They're just 5 tests that anybody can use. But I get that it's hard, and I get the kind of like if you're feeling a bit kind of lacking inspiration, you might want to dig a bit deeper. So I wanted to say today that over the next few weeks, we're going to be putting together another section on the website that's stories of gloriously ordinary lives, you know, dead simple, just places where real people are trying stuff out and it feels a bit gloriously ordinary. So if you've got some photos, stories, video clips, or just get in touch with me and I'll do the work, that'll be really lovely. You don't have to say who you are, that's all good, and help me collect a place on the website that kind of gives people a bit of inspiration if they're wondering what this gloriously ordinary thing's all about still. So I thought that to get us started, I'd just share some stories, because I get stories all the time. So part of this has been about me knowing that I had to share stories as well. So I thought today I'd just share a story from each test that might kind of give you a little bit of inspiration, but certainly things that have made my heart sing. So just thinking, test 1, this is just from a couple of weeks ago, lovely social worker, Mandy, who after we'd talked about test 1 and would I want that for me or someone I love, went and had a chat with a woman that she's social worker for, and this woman has her own place and a team of staff who support her, and she kind of, what Mandy said, which was beautiful, is she went in kind of, rather than doing the usual checkbox tick list thing that she has to do in her visits to check everything's all right, she just kind of took a beat and said, "Hi, what's going on? What's going on?" And the woman, let's call her Anna said she was a bit sheepish. Mandy said she was a bit sheepish, and she said, "Well, there is something that's bothering me, but I'm not sure. I don't want to tell you because I don't want to get anybody into trouble." Isn't that a classic phrase we hear? And what Anna said was that one of her team who was supporting her would rearrange her kitchen cupboards, so that when she went when Anna went in to try and find something, she couldn't find it. And as always with these things, no doubt done with love and compassion, but it was making Anna cross and frustrated. So Mandy, lovely social worker, reassured Anna that no one was going to get into trouble, and wasn't that a great conversation to have about whose home is it? It's my home. I like things to be in my kitchen cupboards the way they are. And she was able to set up a conversation with the worker, who was mortified and hadn't even thought about it and had wanted to be doing good stuff and help Anna keep her kitchen tidy, but had forgotten that golden rule of it's Anna's kitchen. So lovely example for test 1. And then on a programme we've been running up in the northeast, that's just started a few weeks ago. Last week we looked at test 2, the language test, kitchen table. Would I use that language around my kitchen table in the cafe or down the pub? And we got into a really interesting conversation. First of all, 2 bits. First of all, about that difference between how we talk to people and families and how we talk in teams, and how it really is important to have those same conversations in teams and to use the same human ordinary language in our teams as we would talk to people and families, and also how the difference between writing things down. Then a really lovely one came up. Someone came back kind of really proud after having a moment in a big meeting. And the conversation we got into was, how do you challenge when you feel like the person who's used some really dehumanizing, not gloriously ordinary language is actually a lot more senior than you? And this wonderful woman, Mary, had been in a big meeting, and somebody very senior had talked about someone's home and the place they were moving to as the unit. And she'd had a bit of a moment, and had managed to kind of say, "Oh, I think we're talking about her home, aren't we?" And we had a lovely conversation online as a bit of an email exchange as a group of the power of, again, with love and compassion, just using the right word, using the human word, not the right word, that's a daft thing to say, but using the human word. So if somebody does talk about someone's homes as a placement or a unit or whatever, just going, oh, do you mean Sarah's home? And how wonderful it is when that person does a bit of a double take and realizes how dehumanizing the language they've been using is, and then you start hearing that word used back to you. So a really powerful thing is just to model really gently. I think you're talking about Mary's home. So lovely one for test 2. Test 3 comes courtesy of the very wonderful Neil Crowther, who shared on our Social Care Future Conveners WhatsApp group a very wonderful, if heartbreaking, video of a young man who I won't name because it would be mean, but I'm going to call him Victor, who is a young performer, I can't think of a better word, who is a singer and clearly does circuits in different places with the show tunes and other things. He's got, you can imagine it, a very youngish man, very, very powerful voice. But the image that I want you to share with you for test 3, which is the photo test, is of the little video clip that Neil shared with us of Victor singing his heart out to a semicircle of mainly older people, almost exclusively older people using wheelchairs, almost exclusively using wheelchairs that it didn't look like they could maneuver if they chose not to be in that room anymore. And the looks as on the faces of these older people, almost exclusively again, was not one of heart sing. It was actually heart sink. And just that moment of, again, he was doing that from love and compassion. He was hoping to do a good thing. And just that way we think about people all together, that was the activity for the day. I choose my words carefully, the activity for the day. And those people were going to go and be entertained, whether they liked it or not. So that was my test 4. Thank you, Neil Crowther. Test 4, actually I think I just said test 4, that was my test 3. So test 4, which as we know is all about connections, friendships, just, that joy of human connection, comes from a lovely woman called Carol who works as a micro provider. So she's mainly at the moment, she's relatively new to the work, and she's set up and she's mainly working with older people, supporting people in their own homes. And she started supporting Helen, who's a woman in her early 80s. And the first thing she did, which was lovely, was to, with Helen's daughter's help, formalise the arrangement that Helen had with her neighbours in her street, not all her neighbours, but some of them, to set up a WhatsApp group so they could keep in touch with Helen and just check all was okay and if she needed anything. And that was lovely. But here's where the magic happens, because the WhatsApp group is great and I've helped other people do that. But here's where the magic really happens. And what Carol did was to then get into a chat with Helen and some of the neighbours about what they love to do. And what Carol managed to find was that Helen really loves Sudoku. And actually, there's another person in the street, and that Blessing, one of the women who lived in her street on the WhatsApp group, is also a big Sudoku fan. So hook them up. That's them. They're away now. Blessing will pop in when she's going to do a Sudoku. She'll pop in and do that with Helen. But Blessing has also got another friend who loves Sudoku, and she's introduced her to Helen as well. So that's been another lovely connection. So isn't that just lovely? Really nice little kind of like ordinary human connection story, and good for Carol to know that was part of her job. That part of her job absolutely was to do that connecting. It wasn't just to go in and help Helen get showered in the morning or help her get her dinner. And finally, test 5, which we know is all about that reason to get out of bed in the morning, about having purpose. Margie, who's a lovely support worker who was on a call with me last week, shared with the group how she lives with her nan. And after our session where we were exploring test 5, had a real aha moment where she realised that, and again, I'm sounding like a broken record, aren't I? With absolute love, was doing everything for her nan. A bit like I used to do for my mum when I had that same aha moment. And she she realised that she was leaving her with very little opportunity to actually feel purpose. And her pact with herself was, next time, well, every time her nan offers to make her a cup of tea, rather than say, no, it's all right, Nan, I'll do that for you, saying, yes, Nan, thanks very much, that'd be really kind, thank you. And saying, yes, receiving the gift of love that a cup of tea being made for you is, and receiving with love the gift of, can I help with a dinner, and can I do that with you, is. So I thought it was a really lovely story. So those are my little stories to share with you. Share me yours, please, please, please. Help me build a lovely bank of beautiful stories of gloriously ordinary lives. I say, you don't have to, if you want to do it yourself, cool, lovely, that's great. Otherwise, just drop me an email, say I've got a lovely story, and I'll hop on a call with you for 10 minutes. We can record it if you want to. We record audio if you don't want to do video, or we can just write it down, or if it's a photo test you want to share with me, whatever. Let's build a bunch of stories that we can share with people and help keep getting people gloriously ordinary lives. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a lovely week. Take care.